Hello? Am I audible? Hello? Let us start today. In the last class, I have gone through the column of uniform strength. Generally, this type of problem happens when you take into consideration of a external load, first of all, load of the load acting on the bar and self weight of the bar itself. Now, what happens here? Let us go through this way. No, say we have the bar like this. It is hanging from the roof itself. Its shape is like this, and it has its own weight. It has its own weight and subjected to external load. Say at end. So there is a load here, say W at end itself. So what will be the stress induced in the bar itself? It will, throughout the length, it will be W divided by A due to external load, stress due to external load. And W by 2A stress due to self weight. If the bar has same weight like external weight. So the stress induced to the bar will be same throughout its length, WA, and say this is the length, and but stress induced due to the self weight of the bar will be 0 at the bottom end and maximum at the top end, and the bar will be under load. Just 1 second. The actually, it is well related. It is with stress, not strain. Strain AW into A into E and WL into A into E. It is a strain also. And stress reduced will be equal to W into L divided by A and WL divided by 2 into A itself. This is the elongation itself. Delta. This is also delta. Now, what will happen? This bar will have a stress, will have only the stress due to the external weight at the bottom point, and at the top end, it will be the stress will be added with the stress at the due to external weight as well as stress created due to the weight of the external bar of the entire bar itself. So what happens? The bar has minimum stress induced at the bottom end and maximum stress induced at the top end. But it may so happen our practice may be like this. In our practice, we may have bar capable of carrying equal stress throughout the length. So what will happen in that case? Bar will be take a particular step like this. Where, which means as stress is minimum at the bottom and stress is maximum at the top. So load is maximum at minimum at load is minimum at bottom and load is maximum at top end. So for uniform load, for uniform stress, cross-sectional area will vary along the length of the bar. Minimum at bottom end and maximum at top end. But question is how they are varying, how they will vary. Let us see that. So what we are considering, first of all, it is a similar situation we are thinking. Say we are considering an elemental length which is of thickness dx and which is away from the top free end by an amount x. So let A is the area at the distance x. So at the top of the top side of this particular element, the area is equal to A. At the bottom side, it becomes area, even in that elemental distance, it has increased to A plus dA. So area at the distance x plus dx. So A is the area at a distance x and A plus dA is the area at a distance x plus dx. Now, the weight per unit volume of the bar. And so the balance of forces acting on the small length is like this. Sigma, the stress induced in the bar at the bottom end is equal to sigma multiplied by A into A plus dA. This is the load at the bottom end plus it is equal to the load at the top end, which is sigma into A plus weight of the small length dx of the bar itself. So this portion of the bar is carrying stress and sigma A plus dA as its cross-sectional area is A plus dA and upper portion is carrying the stress sigma A because our portion has a cross-sectional area A plus weight of the element of thickness dx, small area thickness dx. So it happens like this: sigma A plus dA plus sigma A plus W into A into dx, where W is the specific the weight per unit volume, and volume of this element is cross-sectional area A is the area at the top side multiplied by the thickness itself. So after simplification, it becomes sigma dot dA is equal to sigma into A into dx. Now, what happens here? After certain simplification, we will have dA by A here, and omega by the, sigma into Tx. So this same sigma brought here as sigma and A brought here as A itself. So this becomes di by A, the omega by sigma into Tx. If we integrate both sides, this will happen log log e to the log A to the base E is equal to omega into sigma, omega divided by sigma into x plus t. Now at the top, here at the top end, where there is x is equal to 0, so this portion will be equal to 0 and log total area will be A into A. Here, the cross-section area will be the minimum, that is A. A minimum sectional area. Okay, so it becomes A, so log A to the base E is equal to 0 plus C. So C is equal to log A to the base E itself. Thus, if we put the value of value of C here, the equation at above the equation will become log A to the base E equal to omega by sigma into x plus log A to the base E, or log A divided by capital A divided by A to the base E is equal to omega into sigma into x, or A divided by sigma is equal to e to the power omega x sigma, or A is equal to A e to the power omega x into sigma itself, which means the cross-section area at any distance x from the free end here, x is the distance from the free end, is given by the cross-section area at the free end, which is the minimum, multiplied by exponential of W is the specific volume, multiplied by the x, the distance of the respective section from the free end, divided by the stress, uniform stress, which can be allowed to induced in this particular part itself. Okay. So from here, we'll get an equation. We'll get an equation letting the cross-section area and the distance of the free end. Oh, too much disturbance is going on. This bar may also have been, this bar can also be considered suspending from the top, just to have, which I have explained to you just a minute before, and the force balance will be exactly same, and the same equation as above. Now let us have to, the final expression will be the same if x is taken from bottom and A is the area at the bottom. So that if the type of the bar is like this, so the equation will be the same as it is like this, as it is. Now let us go through one a vertical cylindrical problem. What is given a vertical tie bar, we used to withstand a uniform cross-section tensile stress, used to form a uniform tensile stress of 30 MPa throughout its length. So here, what we are saying, the uniform strength sigma, which can be induced here, is 30 MPa, which is given throughout the length, everywhere in the length. Determine the diameter of the section at a 0.6 meter above the section where the diameter is 30 millimeter. Here, what we are saying, we are asking for a 0.6 meter above this section where the diameter is 30 millimeter. We can simply say here A, or the diameter at the end, is equal to A itself. So A is equal to 30 millimeter itself. So what will happen? We know the density of the material is given here is 7,500 kg per meter cube, but this is the density, not specific weight. Not specific weight. So to get the specific weight, omega, the weight per unit volume, omega is equal to rho into G, is given by 7,500 into 9.81, which is equal to 7.5, which is given here, 9.81 to 1 into 10 to the power minus 6 Newton plus millimeter cube. Now, let us calculate the diameter at this respective section. So we have the equation A, where we have to calculate A first in order to know the diameter. We know, say, let us have a diameter at the portion A is equal to D. So it is equal to pi by 4 D square. And diameter at this end is equal to small t, which is given as pi by 4 small d square. If you put pi by 4 will cancel each other. So d square is equal to d square into E omega x into sigma. So sigma. So d is at the free end, set aside 30 millimeter. We put it here. Omega you have already calculated here. 9.9 put it here. And distance we are supposed to have 6,000 millimeter. And but it's possibly something wrong in the book. It should be only 3,000 millimeters. So it should be point should be 3 meters above the length. So that divided by the maximum uniform stress which can induce, that is 30 MPa, which is given here. After the calculation, it will become 901.01 into 0148 is equal to 91.913.34 instead. So diameter will become 30.22 millimeter. So diameter is increased from 30 to 30.22 millimeter to keep the bar under uniform stress, to keep the bar under uniform stress, in uniform stress. Okay, let us go for the next section. Now let us consider what is pressure and temperature stress itself. Just 1 second. Now, the length of the material. What is this temperature stresses? Let us go through it. Now, temperature stresses. What is temperature stresses? You know, for any metal, used in engineering, let me say steel, copper, brass, aluminum. If subjected to stresses, subjected to heat, if surrounding heat is increased.
Sir, your voice
Follow.
is not properly audible.
क्या?
Your voice is not properly audible.
এবার শুনতে পাচ্ছিস? हेलो नेट बहुत प्रॉब्लम है.
Yes, sir.
नेट का बहुत प्रॉब्लम है मैन.
Okay, sir.
Just try to follow it. I'm trying to do my live voice. I have done everything here, but still this giving me trouble. Everything is okay. It is running. More pause. Share sound. সব কিছু আছে. New share. This is also shared. Everything is okay. Even my computer sound is also 100%. So absolutely nothing else I can do now. I hope that to a certain extent is understandable to you. Now, let me write down as much as possible then. If subjected to engineering, subjected to increase or decrease of surrounding temperature, surrounding temperature, then its length, dimension, not only length, but the diameter or other lengths. Dimensions will increase or decrease. If temperature rises, it will increase in length or width or thickness. If temperature falls, it will decrease in length or width or thickness. Here we consider this these four metals, steel of different type of copper or alloys, different type of brass and alloys, and aluminum and alloys. Really, these are the almost 90% use of different material in our engineering application. So we'll consider this thing. So question is, what is temperature stress? Temperature may go on increase and temperature go down or decrease. But how the stress may increase there? If we do not allow, not allow the beam member, the prismatic bar to increase, its length, increase or decrease its length, increase or decrease its length, a stress is induced, So matter is like this. Say bar is kept between two supports and both are rigid at both the ends, and surrounding temperature is increased. The bar is trying to increase its length, but it is not allowed. The supports are not allowing it to increase its length itself. So a force is supposed to be created by the support on the bar, which will keep the bar length of the bar within to the original length. This particular force which is being created by the supports over the bar is defined as the temperature forces, and this temperature forces per unit cross section of the bar is defined as temperature stresses. The supports at the end of the bar may not allow the increase or decrease in length in dimension by creating an opposing force on the bar. This opposing force per unit area is called temperature stresses. ठीक है, let us go through the material. Now, say we have a bar of length L. Temperature is increased beyond through say T. The length is increased by an amount capital L alpha into T, where alpha is the coefficient of thermal expansion itself. So if L is the length alpha coefficient of thermal expansion, and T is the increase in temperature. Then what will happen? This will be this delta alpha into L, capital L into alpha into T will be the elongation due to the rising thermal temperature, is the surrounding temperature. And if this elongation, if we equate delta into L by E, that is which is available from Hooke's law, then sigma induced will be sigma delta alpha into T into E. Here this length will be cancelled and this sigma will thus become alpha into T into capital E. This stress is the temperature stresses or thermal stresses reduced in the bar itself. Temperature strain or thermal strain will be the stress divided by the Young's modulus E itself. So this will become this thermal stress will reduce will become alpha into T itself. Now, so what is happening is very clear. What we have I have just told you. Say this is the length of the bar. Is one end is supported, other end is free. The temperature is increased, and by means of another support at the right end, we are keeping the length of the bar intact. Thus, the support is creating a tension or compression or a load or stress on the bar itself to keep its length intact. Thus, this stress thus created is the thermal stress itself. Now, temperature of the material is prevented from expansion from which is alpha into LB to T. But in case the support is yields or is unable to prevent the expansion completely, then there is yield is alpha itself, A itself. So in that case, elongation will be alpha into A minus alpha L alpha T minus A, which is equal to sigma into L by E, which means what we are saying, if the supports are not rigid, the supports are not rigid, say, and the amount of A is allowed to yield since this amount of deformation is allowed in length, so the thermal stress will become delta, which is alpha into L into T minus A. This portion of the rim which will be supposed to be the total elongation. A portion of it is still not allowed to increase. So another portion like A is allowed to increase. So if we eliminate the portion allowed to increase from the portion which is where there is no increase in length, so we'll have the delta from the amount where there is no yield and by the amount of yield present. So this will be equal to the sigma into L by E, and stress it will be alpha into L minus E into A divided by L itself. Now, here sigma is equal to L minus L into alpha minus A multiplied by E divided by L itself. If the bar is tapered, if the bar is a tapering section, the elongation will be, we know, we have already calculated P into L by pi E into D into capital D, right? D small d is the diameter of the minimum diameter of the tapered bar, and capital D is the maximum diameter of the tapered bar, and L is the length, and P is the force acting over both of it. Now, if we assume that by the action of the force P, this bar is not allowed to expand, so this will be delta, this is alpha L into alpha into T is P into L by pi E T T. So P will be alpha into L minus pi into E multiplied by small d multiplied by capital D divided by 4 itself. So stress at any position, stress at any cross section is equal to P divided by A alpha into T into pi into E into D into T divided by 4 into A, where A is the area of the cross section itself. So the maximum cross stress will be at a section with minimum diameter itself. So the maximum stress will be at the minimum diameter at the end T itself. So the maximum stress, we have put this diameter of the minimum diameter here and find out the stress by dividing this portion by this portion. This will become alpha into T into E into D divided by T itself. For the bars of uniform cross section, D will be small d. So this portion will cancel each other and it will go back to this alpha T into E itself as before. Let us go through the compound section itself. Let me stop because there is no such power itself. Power has went out. So this much up to this, it is possible for this day, for the day. The next class, I will continue this portion by more features about it.